welcome back to another episode of the Intellectual Airheads podcast, starring me, Kelly McKee, and my best friend ever, Amanda Panda Cat.
Yay! Yeah, anytime someone sees my tattoo at work, they like want to. They're like, "Oh, what is that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's a panda. My name's Amanda."
I know. I saw like this thing of like how my bestie sees me and how I see her.
Yeah.
We should really do that. I think they're so cute, but it's just like time consuming.
Yeah.
And I saw like there's an animal and I was like, panda.
Yeah.
I would definitely do a panda immediately.
Or a chipmunk. That's my spirit animal.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that makes sense, obviously.
I've looked up yours before. Do you not remember what it is?
Oh, like that's like actually your spirit animal when you Google it?
Yeah, there's a primal astrology thing. I look it up for everyone anytime the subject is
Oh my
brought
God,
up.
look it up.
Do you want me to do it
Yeah,
right
look
now?
it up really quick.
Okay. I've definitely done this for you before. I
Yeah.
feel like when I say it, you're going to be like, oh, yeah.
I feel like I didn't like it. Like I feel like it was
Yeah.
literally like, what are those things like on the side of the road? They're cute.
Oh, yeah, yours was a marmot.
Marmo.
That we can't pronounce.
Oh my gosh. That was that cute little baby thing we were staring at when moose were right behind us?
I think that might have been a really, really baby one. Oh my God. Wait, I had an animal encounter last night.
I was just thinking how we haven't had animal encounters as our fucking theme in a minute.
I had one last night.
Okay, let's hear about your animal
when I
encounter.
was at work, Taylor sent me this video. In our neighborhood, there was like these elk.
Oh my God, Ian was driving home after the night when he went to go watch the football game.
Yeah.
And he FaceTimes me and there's a fucking elk right by your fucking house.
Yeah. So there was three by our house yesterday. And then last night I'm driving home from work and I see one and I'm like, oh my God. And it was like 11 o'clock at night. So there was no one around. So I just parked my car and just sat there for a while. And it like walked over to me and it was eating. And it was just so cool to be able to just sit and look. And it was so close to me.
Were you in your car?
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't about to get in.
Well, that's why I mean, Amanda. Sometimes we don't know.
I know. I was like,
know.
that is a good question. Honestly,
You're like, it's
to ask.
walking over to me. I'm so excited. I'm like, this thing's about to buck you.
There was a point where it was like kept walking, and I'm like, oh my God, are you coming up to my car right now?
Not if you buck.
And so I'm sitting there watching it for a while. And I'm like, this is so cute, and it was eating like this little dead bush, and I'm like, that's not enough food for you. You're like a big ass animal. And so I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go home and get carrots for it.
I don't know if you should do this.
I knew Taylor probably had carrots. And so I go home and I like just needed like a little bit of encouragement from someone else. So I go into Taylor's room and I'm like, should I go bring the elk like a carrot? And she's like, I mean, like, yeah, I guess.
No, you should not feed wild animals.
And I just needed like more encouragement than that. And so I was just like, whatever, I won't go back and feed it. But then I went up in my room and I'm looking out my window. I'm like, I think I should go get it. It was going back and forth in my head for a while. And then I looked in like the drawer today and Taylor had those big carrots that you like feed horses. I'm like, that would have been perfect. But I was like, how does an animal that big like survive off of just like eating like little bits of grass?
Yeah, what do elks eat? Are they herbivores?
I Googled it. It was just like grass and twigs and little shrubs.
And but they would eat a carrot? Probably.
I think so. Yeah. I'm sure they would have loved a carrot.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. You can't feed wild animals.
Why?
Because they're going to start relying on you. The one time. They're going to start relying on you and then they're going to lose all their instincts.
Good. I want them to be outside of my house every morning.
No, like those videos, you guys don't understand. Those videos where people befriend wildlife is so you and Ian's dream.
My dream.
And I literally feel so bad. Sometimes when I see it, it's like how you felt watching the most, like when you watch Queer Eye and you're like, these people don't fucking deserve it. Yeah. That's how I feel. I'm like, oh my God, Ian and Amanda deserve this so much more.
Put a disclaimer in there that people on Queer Eye deserve it. I just have someone in my life that I think deserves it more than them. And so sometimes when I watch them, I'm like, you deserve it more and I need you to sign up for Queer Eye. I need to nominate her.
And honestly, this last season there were still 2 episodes. You told me just keep watching it, you'll end up liking them. I really didn't.
Yeah,
I really didn't. But I loved the librarian guy who gave the shout out to the social worker.
Yes,
he was the
only one that I didn't cry though.
Yeah, I don't know if it was because he was so, I mean, it's like no shade to you. Like, it's like life is so hard and everyone's awkward and insecure. But it was like so crazy how he was so one of those people that like makes fun of himself so other people can't. And so it kind of took away he wasn't allowing the vulnerability as much as other people do. And that's what makes us cry is when people are being vulnerable. But like, it just seeing, I noticed it the second it showed him. I clocked his body language and I was like, I'm going to see if that changes by the end of the week. And it made, I would say, a 75%, 80% improvement by the week.
Agreed.
Crazy.
No, it's like the greatest show in the world.
And the new, like, okay, it's like, I love Bobby forever.
Yes.
Like, I love Bobby forever. But the new guy is so great.
him.
And I can't think of his name because I just want to call him Jordan because he reminds me so much of Jordan Brooks.
No way.
Not really. I mean, kind of the way he acts, kind of the way he acts, and Jordan would 100% be crying like he is. But the way he looks and stuff is just like, oh my God. So my favorite professor ever, Jordan Brooks.
Wait, that's so funny because I'm always so curious about Jordan Brooks. So now I have like a little bit more.
A little bit. Like it's not like an exact, and you know, I put people on characters real quick.
Yeah.
But I've asked people and they said they see it.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
But
yeah, I loved him.
I know, and I wish I could tell Jordan, but Jordan's one of those people that I feel like if you like say you remind me of this person, it's immediately like a negative reaction. Like my brother's like that too. Anyone that I say my brother reminds me of, he's like, I hate that person. I'm like, okay.
Oh.
So that you don't love yourself.
Do you hate yourself?
Literally.
Maybe look in the mirror.
Yeah, no, for real. But yeah, I know. I just and JVN is just that bitch.
Oh my God. I need, you know, like when I think of JVN, I think of from Aquamarine, those little starfish in her ears. Like I want like a little JVN in my ear all the time, like those starfish just like talking to me and encouraging me and telling me like all the things.
I love them. I love when they make their videos in the mirror and they're like, you are a bad bitch. You will slay the day.
Yeah. And then he does that.
Yes,
hits the butt.
Yes. I couldn't even imagine like a podcast with me and JVN.
Oh my God.
It would be like the most annoying
He
thing.
has a podcast.
No, I know, but I'm just saying like me and him talking, I feel like would be like the most annoying conversation someone could ever listen to.
It'd be like slay, slay, slay. Wait, that actually brings me up to one of my topics. I have just been clocking my vocabulary a little bit. Kelly, if you looked
we need to read a book.
in our I know. If you looked in our DMs on Instagram, the amount we either say OMG.
OMG's everything.
So cute. I love that. Is every single thing. Like I would love to just see in like a 3-day span how many times we use those
OMG.
terms. OMG, so cute, and I love that. Is every single reply to anything we ever write.
And what's so funny is like I've never noticed that. Like I've never been like disappointed with your response, just being like OMG or I love that. Like I'm like, yeah, like that's the appropriate response.
Yeah, and I'm just like was thinking about like back in like the 20s and even like the 1800s, like that's so cute wasn't even in their vocabulary. Like they would, you would never hear them say that, and they would just use like really eloquent language, and we are just so just OMG, that's so cute is everything, like, every response to everything.
It's honestly so appropriate. It's so appropriate.
It is. But I'm like, should I be like crafting like better sentences to describe my feelings about this instead of just saying that's so cute?
Okay, but so the thing is like, how do we do it? Because people say read, but you read a lot, and I know in those fantasy books they're talking in different types of vocabulary, and but do they have their own meanings in the other world, or is it just like the words that they're using that are different vocabulary?
I think just with it would just, because of we're not in the 1920s anymore, it would just sound weird. And in books, they just describe things to a extreme level because they're having you picture it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, the sunset was like the most beautiful colors of yellow and orange. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just not gonna like describe it like so in depth like the way I read. I'm just like, oh my God, look how beautiful.
Just words. Like if they use like a word in it, and then like it's like how we learned vocabulary when we were little.
Yeah.
You use context clues, and then now you know a new word.
Yeah. Taylor is starting to read A Court of Thorns and Roses, and she literally opened the book the other day and was like, I feel like I'm reading above my reading level because what the fuck is this saying? Because
that's probably how I would feel.
Was describing things like really in depth.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can't even picture what they're saying anymore because I don't even know what
so
these words are.
adjectives.
I like wish I could think of like an exact like word that she said. It was like, I don't know,
Damn.
whatever. But it was funny because she was reading me a chapter, and I'm like, I also kind of just like skim over that, and I'm like, I get it enough.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
very
like, and that's what I was saying to Taylor.
And Taylor's like, I need to comprehend every detail.
Yeah. And I'm like,
I would
just
be
like
the same way.
picture whatever you want. Like,
Yeah.
it's like she's like, but I want to know what it looks like, and I'm like, no, it's just fine. Like, read whatever you want.
That's so funny.
That was the only thing that I really don't like reading on my phone. I'm not sure if I would like a Kindle, but the one thing that was awesome about it is you could highlight a word and it will tell you the definition. So that was really cool vocab wise. If you read on a Kindle or something like that, you can just highlight the word and it comes right up in 2 seconds.
I just like don't know, like I feel like going through school, I got a lot of new vocabulary, I got a lot of new terms, but it's all social work based.
Yeah.
So it's like I can sound really smart when I'm talking like about that stuff, and I love that for me, but it's like I also just, I don't know. We're fucking intellectual airheads and I love it.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
I don't really know.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just when I noticed it, I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous.
No, I know. And I was watching the finale of Salt Lake City last night, which, like, if you watch the finale of Salt Lake City, DM me personally. I'm not about to get into my thoughts on the podcast, but, like, I have a lot of thoughts.
I mean, I've even heard about the finale of Salt Lake City. Like, everyone's talked about it. It was, like, such a big thing.
Well, it's the thing is that my quick piece on it, now that man is intriguing me, is last season they had one of the best finales ever.
Yes.
And so I just felt like this season.
Oh, you're not talking about that.
No, I'm not talking about that one. And that one was also very like produced and like, you know, you could tell it was kind of like planned and orchestrated, but like I didn't care because it was great TV. But then this whole season felt like they were all trying to have that moment again. Mm-hmm. And that's when I get annoyed with Housewives because I like when it's real. Like I understand that like they go into these conversations probably knowing what they're going to talk about. They have these parties knowing, oh, this person, like it's planned to a certain extent, but it is real, you know, where when it's so fucking orchestrated, I'm like, this is bullshit. And that's how the finale felt for me last night. But before it got into like the crazy stuff, they did a lunch where they all dressed up as Lisa, which is one of the people.
Yeah.
And that's something I want to do so bad. I want to make all my friends dress up as me. And they all just put on like a wig like her. Like they wore their own clothes and just put on like a wig like her hair. And they were all impersonating her, and they were just all every 2 seconds saying, "I love that! I love that!
God.
I love
that's
that!"
That's so funny that I just brought that up too. Then that's
And it was like the waiter was like at the table, and the one person would order, and everyone would be like, "Love that! I love that!"
That's
and it was so
funny.
good. And I was like, obviously, that sounds like my friends making fun of me.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I think you should totally do that, and I will be really excited about
Yeah,
it.
that would be
Like,
great.
It would be so funny.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really excited for you to do
Were
that.
you at Britney's that time that Stephanie did the impersonation of me? It was
No.
the best thing in the entire world because Stephanie's just amazing and who knows me more than her.
Mm-hmm.
But her main thing was mostly just, Ian, roll me a blunt. Ian. There was like 15 people at this fucking party and she's roasting me like
That's
this.
so fucking
It was like
funny.
Mason was there. Mason was dying at that because
That's
everybody
so funny.
knows.
Yeah, roll me a blunt.
I was just talking to Jen
Oh my
about
God,
how
that's so funny, Kelly.
the first time that I met her husband, Matt, I was like so relieved because like it was when I was still really, really nervous about leaving Ian for like 2 nights.
Yeah.
And I got to Jen's and I meet her, well, then boyfriend, and I was like, Ian energy, okay?
Yeah,
Like, I'm safe.
you're fine.
I'm safe.
I'm gonna cling on to you.
Yeah, and I just told her that. She's like, you never told me that. I was like, yeah, because I was so ashamed that I couldn't leave Ian. Like, I couldn't be like, I was scared to leave Ian, and your boyfriend made me feel better. Like, God, why do you rely on men so much? To feel safe?
Yeah.
That's
sick.
skewed.
That's sick.
That's wrong.
That's not okay. That's quite the opposite of how I feel.
Yeah. So,
But that's so good that you guys have men in your life
yeah,
that
that
do
make
you feel safe.
Yes,
That
for
is
sure.
like incredible.
Yeah, and that's what we were kind of talking about because it's just like so hard for my Florida girls. Like, it's just so hard for them to exist in a state that is so different from everything they stand for. And so that means that a lot of the people there stand for what the state stands for
Yes.
and against what they stand for. And so I just feel so bad because it's really hard to make friends. And it's already hard to make friends in your late 20s anyways. And so, yeah, it's just... I don't know. So I was just like saying, I was like, I just wish you could move out here and be with all my friends and all our cool, their partners.
When I was at work the other night, we get a lot of first dates at
Oh my
the
God.
restaurant.
I'm obsessed with first dates.
And I like eavesdrop on them just because I'm like walking by
I
and
have
it's
to.
like so interesting and it's like seeing it. Are they hitting it off? Is it good? And I was the day before that, 2 days ago, I was overhearing this first date, and towards the end of the date, she was asking a lot of good questions, which I was like, okay, I'm taking note of that. Yeah. But she was just like really like getting into like the things that you should know about a person. Yeah. And she asked the thing like, I think she asked, are you close with your family? Which I thought was like a good question. It's loaded. It's like, if I was thinking about if someone asked me that, I'm like, yes. Like, how much do you want to get into right now? Yeah, me too. But it's just like there's levels to it.
Yeah,
like,
when
you just think of like, oh, are you close to your family? And you say yes, you like picture like a certain thing, and it's like, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, you picture Ian's family. Yeah, and it's like, no, it's not that.
And then he said, like, I think she asked his political views or something like that, and he was like, well, I grew up really conservative, and I was like, kind of like, I feel like if I was on a first date and like I heard someone say that, like my face would be like, uh-oh, you know, like
the family's conservative.
Yeah, and they like seemed like they were on the same page about a lot of stuff, and she had grown up conservative too, and it's kind of cool when people had grown up that way and then like have moved out here and are exposed to all of this stuff, and maybe their views have changed a little bit. That's like kind of what I was gauging from that. But I'm like, oh my God, my face I think would drop if someone said that.
I would just be like waiting to hear, and I do not stand for any of that though anymore.
Oh my God. And I also, tell me how you would react to this. I saw a Cybertruck the other day, and I just was like, what if you were going on a first date with someone and they pick you up?
I wouldn't go in the car.
They pick you up and they're in a Cybertruck. I don't know what I would do.
It's so, first of all, it's so hard to me imagine like going on a first date, because it's like, okay, like say, like I just imagine being like how I was in the club and literally walking out and turning around because I saw the Cybertruck. But it's like, you have to put in the factors that like you probably like really think this person's cute, and like you probably like really did like them at least enough to go on a date.
I would judge so hard.
I would literally not want to go.
Yeah, I would not want to go either.
Because I just feel like if you have a fucking Tesla truck or Cybertruck, then that means you stand Elon Musk. And I'm not about to be with someone that stands Elon Musk.
Also, I think if you have a Cybertruck, you're arrogant as hell.
Yeah, and then weird. You're
like,
just a weirdo.
It's like you want that thing.
And you want people to stare at you.
Yeah.
And you know it pisses people off.
Yeah. I just think that describes a lot about a person that I do not like. And then I was thinking, what if you went on the date and you didn't know until afterwards you guys were leaving, and then you saw he had a Cybertruck and you had a really good date? That would be like, I would just be like, can you explain to me why you chose this?
I would,
and they would have to have a really good answer, and I just don't think their answer is going to be good enough.
Especially if it was like a good date. This is why I really think I would slay dating. I think I would slay it if I was back in the pool, which I don't want to be at all ever. But I think I would slay it. And my thing is, I'm just thinking if it was actually a good date and then go cry, I'd be like, oh no. Oh no. No. It was so nice.
Is this a rental?
It was so nice knowing you, but I gotta go.
I gotta go.
Is this your roommates?
Yeah.
Is your roommate a tech bro? I didn't know. Or I would say that, I didn't know you're a tech bro.
Yeah.
Something like that. But no, yeah, I don't vibe with that. And I don't even know.
Yeah. So when we were talking about like the oh my God and that's so cute thing, I did have a little segue into something else that I wanted to talk about. Do you remember? So I played the game Priorities with Kelly and everyone, and I freaking love that game. Sponsor us. I think it's so fun, and it's so cool to be able to see what people think of you, and then also be able to tell them like, no, these actually are my priorities. Like, I feel like it's just such a good way to like get to know people and just see how people perceive you, and it's just super fun.
I was so mad I forgot it the other night when I hung out with Sam, Rowan, and Whitney.
Yeah,
oh my God,
it's
to play it with.
So much fun.
Yeah,
and I remember the God one was not in mine, but we were having that conversation, and I was like, God just like doesn't cross my mind at all. And I was basically saying that like I think about God maybe like once a week or something. I think I was lying to myself.
Yeah, I think, because then we had a further conversation, and I was saying it doesn't necessarily need to be like you're thinking of God in the Catholic religious way, but you're thinking of the higher powers, the universe, Allah, all that stuff. Yes,
but I was saying like I don't even say like God when I'm like thinking that way, and I totally do.
Wow, look at you.
I was just like thought about it the other day. The amount of times I say God bless
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I say God bless all the time.
And you're meaning it. You something
Yes.
good happened.
No,
You say
and
God bless.
Yes, and I look up sometimes even too. I literally like look up and I'm like, God bless. Like
Thank you, God. You're literally praying every day. And you're like, don't think about God.
I'm like, I
don't know who that is.
Fully lying to myself, and I don't know why I didn't realize I do.
Well, because
that
I think that
time.
like God is just such a heavy thing, and it's interpreted in a million
so
and
many
one
different
ways.
Yeah,
and like. We as humans, whether people want to accept it or not, have this innate connection to something. And so it's like at any time of desperateness, we go to that thing, whether you believe in it or not, you're going to it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess I don't know because I'm not atheist, but I would assume so. And yeah, so I think that it's so subconscious in us to be connected to that you don't realize how much you're really even talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think about it all
funny.
the time.
I'm like,
I can't get out of bed.
all the time. I'm like, God bless, God bless, God bless.
Yeah. So you want to hear something funny? This is for my meditators out there. I don't know if anybody has this problem. I would love to connect if you did. But so, I was doing so amazing. I was doing so amazing. I was happy every day. I was in the flow. I was like, I can't believe this. What is a struggle? Why have I been doing this to myself? And that was because I was listening to trust and surrender meditations every single day. And then I got to the point where like I was doing really good for like literally, I think 7 days in a row. I was very, very happy and excited about life, which like I don't really have like that severe mental illness, but it's just like 7 days in a row is like really good for me. And I realized that it was because towards the end of those 7 days, I was like, I need to look into other meditations to do. I don't need to do the trust and surrender ones. Like, I'm good with that. And then now I've been in shambles for 4 days.
What meditations were you doing those couple days?
I was just doing like self-love affirmations, just more so like not like the deeper stuff of like really connecting. And because I was like, I'm good. But that's just like the trick of it all. And so now I've been struggling, and it's so fucked up because when I've been doing my surrender and trust meditations, like it's been hard to feel it. Like it's been hard to feel that connection and really let it all go.
Like you like got out of it, and now it's like hard to get back in.
Now it's being hard to get back in, and I'm just very upset. And I just think I need
a practice.
I know, and I think I just need to literally listen to trust and surrender just every single day. I just think that is my biggest struggle is the anxiety, and that because that helps with the anxiety. So yeah, that was dumb of me, but I'm doing great.
Yeah, we falter for a day or two and then we get back up.
Yeah, I'm so glad we're not going skiing tomorrow. But yeah, I was so upset that I didn't bring priorities to I'm gonna like add like a picture or something of what it like at least looks like. It's kind of like a lot to explain, but you guys should just get the game. To hang out with my friends, because I feel like that group, like the S work, social work, like we know each other well. We know each other in very different ways, I feel like. And it was also just be like a great way to like learn about each other. But I was hanging out with some of my friends. So they're all like 21, 22. I think, Whitney's 21. And the rest I think are 22. And I'm 29. So they're talking about the times they've greened out.
Yes, this is a new greened out and crashed out.
Well, crash out I like because I crash out.
I don't
bitch.
like either of them. They're for some reason they make me feel weird.
It is weird. Greened out makes me like physically my skin crawl, and especially when I'm watching a group of my cute friends like use it very casually and like talk about their experiences greening out. I'm like, you guys made this up. I actually just had an epiphany right now that I'm going to get into in a second. But I was just like, what is the symptoms?
No, 2 weeks ago, I asked one of my coworkers because they said they greened out. And I'm like, the fuck is that? Like, I heard people say it in passing, and then I finally asked, like, what are you talking about?
So they said, at first, like the symptoms, they were saying you feel blacked out drunk. I said,
no.
There is no time that you are smoking weed and you feel blacked out drunk.
Unless you're also drinking.
Then that time that I was at that fucker's house, and he gave me that fat fucking dab. Okay, I'm going to bleep out the names because I think it's funny when we bleep out names. So in high school, I went had a crush on him.
Yeah.
And this was when like oil was first like being
Yes.
introduced. Then I'm telling the story. They're like, it's not oil, it's wax. If you're using dabs, it's wax. I'm like, I was there.
I'm the founder. We were there at the beginning.
For the invention. If you were not hitting black tar in 2013, I don't want to hear about what this shit is called. Y'all are saying greened out. No.
No.
You're gonna tell me
Wax?
Yeah.
That's like
I'm like,
no.
it's the oil.
It's oil.
It was oil. And whatever.
Oil
so,
710.
I'm so excited for them to watch this because they watch the podcast. And I'm just coming for them. I was like keeping this all in my head. When
That's so fucking funny.
But I did tell them I was there for the invention though. So it was basically the invention of oil, dabs, whatever. And this guy, he gave me like such a big one because these boys are just disgusting and don't know how to not drug women, I guess.
No, they literally would like fuck us up.
They would fuck us up intentionally, and then we didn't know. Like, I'm not kidding you guys. This was the cutting edge.
No, this is
Cutting
right. And I
edge.
feel
We
like for
didn't
some reason,
know.
like our friends in Florida were probably like
Yes.
a lot of people like in America. Like
No, because I don't talk to them about it. I said the fact I made it out without getting on drug court, people were falling left and right.
Yes.
It was another motherfuckers on drug court.
all of our friends were on drug court.
But yeah, so basically I did realize, okay, I have greened out before because I was throwing up. I couldn't walk. I was with Amelia and Blum. I was 16. They were 15. Amelia had to drive my car back to her parents' house or her mom's house because I could not drive. I could not walk. They were carrying me to the car. So like that is like blackout drunk.
Yes. The only time I feel like I've gotten in that situation is the first time I got high.
Yeah.
Was I remember like almost falling down the stairs because I was like so high.
So what I'm thinking, what the epiphany that I just had is the reason why I think this term has become a thing and the reason why I think the Gen Zers are more like experience of it is because weed has changed so much. And the weed that we were smoking in high school was probably 12% THC.
Yeah.
Like we weren't smoking like now in the dispensaries they go up to 34 40% THC, and like if you're not used, like we can smoke that now because we've been smoking for 15 years at this point basically. And so I just feel like when these 16-year-olds go and smoke weed for the first time and they're smoking very high THC because that's what weed is now, they're greening out.
Yeah.
I just realized that while we were talking.
I think that they should make like some that's not so intense.
No, Ian gets me low percentage ones.
Oh, really?
Like we stay in like the low 20s.
Oh, I see. I don't go to the dispensaries enough to know.
Yeah, Amanda doesn't know
all these numbers.
And then it was great because Rowan had homegrown stuff, and I like normally like would be like to the homegrown just because I've gotten a little bit weird about like sativa, hybrid, indica, you know. But it's so nice because it's not so intense like the hallucinogens we were talking about.
I was talking to some guy like last year about, and he was like very adamant about like dispensaries do put like other shit, like when it's anything that gets mass produced like that just gets weird. And the homegrown, we're going back.
I know, we're going back.
We're going back
to our roots.
This is, but it's also like what I was saying, we need to rein it in.
Yeah, no,
let's all do the homegrown.
That was so funny in that last episode. Even when I was editing, I was cracking up. I just did not think you were gonna go there. You go, we need to rein it in.
Let's bring it back down to earth. I was reading, I got a little ahead. You know, me and my cousin are reading the series together, and I had a little bit of a binge read and I got way ahead of her, and I wanted to read the other morning, so Liam just buys like 110 books and doesn't read any of them, so I was like, let me just pick up one of
not
these.
110
710 oil
we know that. I bet you bitches don't even know about that.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Whatever, keep going. So you read, what did you read?
I was reading The Wisdom of Native Americans.
Oh, cool.
And it's like we really do just need to get back to earth.
I think I might be depressed if I read that.
Get back to earth.
Get back to earth, you guys.
We're children of the earth.
Speaking of getting back to earth, the LA wildfires, like just like kind of what we talked about last time. So I'm not really going to talk about the fires that much, but I need to talk about Spidey, Spencer and Heidi Pratt.
Oh my god. Okay. Do you want to give me the lowdown?
Yeah, I'll give you the lowdown.
Because I have seen bits and pieces, as I always do, and don't know the OG story. And then my mom was talking about it the other day, and I was like, she wasn't explaining it very well. Okay. And I was like, I don't get it still.
Okay, so what's going on right now is that they lost their entire home in the fires. And the thing about Spencer and Heidi, this is so exciting for me to talk about. I'm like feeling it in my body. It's kind of embarrassing. The thing about Spencer and Heidi is they are like the number one, the first ever clout chasers.
Yes.
They have only ever cared about fame.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but they do it in a very shameless way where like they literally like, it's like kind of their bit is to like be desperate for fame.
Yeah.
And you know, I love The Hills. I have watched The Hills from beginning to end 3 times now. I do it every 10 years. I learned.
Whoa.
Well, because remember I watched it recently and I was like, last time I watched this, I was in high school. And then the first time I ever watched it, I was in freaking elementary school.
That's
so like,
so funny.
I just keep watching it. And Spencer is horrible. He is a grade A narcissist abuser to Heidi. He literally does all the signs. Takes her away from her friends, takes her away from her family, treats her terribly,
In the
spends
show.
all the money. Yes, in the
Okay.
show. So this is talking about early 2000s,
Yeah.
2005, I want to guess,
Mm-hmm.
to like 2000. I don't know, maybe like 2002 to 2005. I don't know, but he was just horrible. He'd spend all the money she's making. He wouldn't get a job. He was just the classic abuser, terrible situation, and she never left him. And I would hope that having kids and everything, he's like grown a little bit, but like Spencer is Spencer no matter what. And it's actually really funny because like, oh, that's what, yeah, because then I did watch the reboot and he's really not that much different. I think he was maybe a little bit better, but he really wasn't that much different. But in the newer reboot that they had, he's all into crystals and
Yes,
spiritual healing.
I've seen that. I've seen
And
that.
it's so funny because this man gets so enraged and it's like, I'm not like Spencer, obviously, but I understand being like an insane person and trying to use like crystals and spirituality. And so it's like, he's so mad. He's like holding a crystal on his head. He's like trying to calm
Crashing
himself down. And so whatever. I say all that to just say that like basically Spencer made it so that Heidi's song from 15 years ago has got to number 1 on the charts. They're making money off it on TikTok and everyone is praising Spencer and saying, the way this man loves his wife. Why can't I have a Spencer? Everyone is romanticizing the abusive behavior. Like even this stuff with Heidi, like I don't know. I don't know them personally, but it's just like, it's all for him at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's all for him. And it's like, I love them. I'm going to like support, you know, I didn't make a TikTok, but like I am here for them to have fame and them to have a home for their children and all that stuff. But like, and I would honestly love them to come back to reality TV. Spencer, it's like, it's just that thing where the worse you are as a person, the better you are as a reality TV star.
Yep.
And so that was just kind of my piece, is just pure shock at people forgetting that he is literally one of the most abusive people to be on reality television. Like, we talk about how reality TV back then wouldn't fly now. Oh, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. The only thing that I saw what I thought was funny was this video he made where he was like, everyone's always been in my DM saying that I'm like a broke nobody who's just trying to like clout chase and has nothing and is like just like a piece of shit, lazy person kind of thing. And he's like, now that like his house burnt down and he's like in his beach house somewhere or whatever, everyone's like, you're a rich asshole. And it's just like the complete opposite.
It doesn't
and he's
make
like,
any
can
sense.
you tell everyone who was just saying that I was a broke nobody like the other day that like this is now like
no, I can tell you for sure those people do spend more money than they have. And when I say those people, it's Spencer. Like even in the Hills reboot that was like came out a few years ago, Heidi was so stressed about finances and he just would, again, I'm like, the way that I'm Spencer is not okay.
Oh my God.
He just didn't fucking care.
Yeah.
He did not care. He was going to order another $5,000 crystal even though they had so many to sell because he was just excited about it. And it's like, bro. But yeah, it's crazy because there's a lot of famous people in LA that like their house is burnt down and like people are just like, oh, they'll be able to rebuild. And it's like, they really probably won't. Like the Paris Hiltons, yes. The fucking Kardashians, if their house is burned down, yes. Like some of these people for sure. But like, I don't know. It's crazy how much famous people really don't have money and they act like they do.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, like you're saying, kind of like spend above their means. And I think a lot of people, I don't know exactly how it works. Like we're not getting into like business talk.
Yeah, we don't
But
know.
it's like they almost use fake money,
Yes.
like other people's
moving
money
it all around.
Yeah, and it's like when it actually comes to like how much they have, it's not as much, and it's like they'll get like loans from other people to like buy a house and then have an asset, but then they still owe a lot to like, I think a lot of rich people's money is weird.
You think they're rich, but they're moving their money all around places to like be able to live a life like that. And that's so stressful. Like I'm just trying to like not have to worry about anything.
Well, and it's also I know, I mean, me too, but I think it's also fucked up because it's only these people who have had rich parents to teach them how to do this. It's not like we get taught how to do this kind
and
of
it's like
stuff.
a top secret.
It's secret.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's only the rich people who like are able to teach their kids like this is how you're supposed to do it. And it's like, I mean, there's that Rich Dad Poor Dad book that I read like half of, and it's like you do see the way like poor people are like, save your money, and if you save it then you'll be able to like live. And it's like, no, saving your money is not the way to get rich. You need to like put your money
spend
into
money to
like
make money.
But then you have to have money to spend money to make money.
I know. That's why sometimes I get so mad at Ian, because his dad is literally a financial advisor. But it's just like to talk to your dad about your finances when like you're a grown man running your business. And especially just the way Ian is, like any input or control in the slightest,
he's like, no.
He shuts him down,
like,
and he gets so mad. Like even sometimes when I'm just like, we fill up my water, he's like, you're just trying to get me to do something right now. But he's not wrong, because and it's weird because I don't feel like I am, but I will literally ask him to do like 4 things in a row, and he'll like say no, and then I'll be like, okay, can you get me my water? And he's like, you literally just want me to get up and do something for you right now. And I don't think I do, but
maybe
the pattern checks
out.
Well,
it's almost like that thing that you're like, I kind of want to just start a fight right now.
No, literally, because
I think that's relatable. Like I think a lot of girls feel that way, especially when they have partners that are like, don't fight at all. That it's like you want to egg them on a little bit.
Well, like the really deep problem with that is like, when I like earlier in me and Ian's relationship, I was so dependent on him that at 5 o'clock, if he was not on his way home from work, I was already livid. Like I was so mad, so annoyed, because it was just like I just couldn't do anything without him around. It was bad. And so sometimes I'm not mad at him, but like I just want to pretend I'm mad when he gets home.
You're such an ass.
Which is like trauma. Like for Ian, like Ian's biggest trauma is our early relationship. Like that man does not have childhood trauma. And so it's seriously not funny. It's seriously not okay. And that's why when I say sometimes he came home and I was like, I was going to pretend I was mad at you. He said, seriously? Never do that. Never do that.
Yeah, I'm the same way as Ian. I was actually having this conversation with like one of the little bussers at work last night, because he was saying that he wants like a little bit of like fighting in the relationship, and like the person he's with right now just is
he an Aries?
No, he's a Capricorn.
Okay, I think that's the same thing. They're like really hard-headed, stubborn type of people too.
And it's like, and he's also 18. Like, it's like everything's just so easy, and he wants like a little bit more like fun, like adventure, like just like a switch up, you know? And I was like, I am that your girlfriend. Like, I'm like the one where I'm like, you're not going to be able to argue with me. Like, I will not argue unless I know I'm like fully right.
Yeah.
Or like we just won't. and I, not to bring up the bad relationship I had, but like I knew at the beginning of that relationship that he was a fighter, and I was like, I think you're gonna not like this in the long run, that I don't fight with you and I don't feed into it. And he was like, no, like I never wanted that. I was just put in these situations, like I don't want to fight. And I'm like, I know you do. I know you like the fighting.
Just kidding. Oh my God, no. And
I think like people like who are like that do need partners that are like, shut them down.
Yeah.
Then if it's like so two people that fight, it's like bad.
Then it's just like nothing. Yeah. And I definitely used to be that way too. And I think the best thing Ian said in the beginning of our relationship was, if you ever break up with me, I'm never getting back with you, because that was so like my pattern at that time, like straight out of that high school relationship. And it's like, even to this day, I still struggle with conflict. Like I really just want to like, I just rather not talk to you. Like that's why I don't know, like I guess we don't need to get in, but just because it makes sense really quick with our fight that we had, like after that happened, I was like, I made the right decision. I feel great. But it wasn't because I felt great that you weren't in my life anymore. I felt great because I didn't have to address the conflict. So it's like, that was my way of dealing with things, is then I would like break up or not be friends with someone. And I'd be like, best decision ever.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, but that conflict still stays with you.
Yeah, that's
and you
really
don't feel
interesting.
good.
Yeah.
And so like
immediately you're like, oh my God, I don't have to deal with that anymore. And so it like feels better.
Yes, but it's not. And so that was just great for him to set that strong like right away, because that was 100% my way of dealing with anything. And then like very quick into me and Ian's relationship, like I don't have an anxious attachment with him at all. Like I can come to him about anything. I can say anything. I don't have to correct my tone. I don't, like, you know what I mean? Because like we've learned how to communicate with each other. And I just think that that's so important, because like the fighting is just immaturity. You know what I mean? But that's fine. We all have to go through it, especially he's 18. Like, geez.
For sure.
But no, it's also just not good how like love has been portrayed in the media. Like that's why we were obsessed with nobody wants this. I had to think, I was like, anyone but you, or nobody wants this, because it showed like an authentic, real, solid, healthy relationship and how that forms, rather than like Mr. Big and Carrie from Sex and the City. Why was that?
Or the opposite of like, you meet and you fall in love and it's perfect immediately and everything's so good and you don't even have to work on communicating because you guys are just perfect.
Yes, exactly. Which that's how I felt. Like, I mean, me and Ian just never, like, Ian just never gonna, it's like you. Like, he's not gonna communicate by screaming ever. So for our whole relationship, I was like, we don't fight. It's all, there's no problems. But it's like, looking back, there obviously was. I mean, I couldn't leave him. I literally couldn't leave him.
Yeah. And I feel like there's just people like view fights in like a certain way of like yelling and screaming. And it's like, you can have like in-depth conversations where you disagree. And it's like kind of the same thing as a fight. But you're not letting it get to like a crazy level.
High level.
So it's not like everything's perfect.
I can't even imagine fighting with someone like that right now. Like, I just feel like I used to scream immediately. First of all, I have a loud voice. When I get activated, when I get excited, it gets loud. So it turns to screaming very quickly. But, like, I just couldn't imagine, like, really fighting with someone right now. And I just used to do it all the time. Unless it was a random guy in a bar, I would love to do that. I just love yelling at men when I'm drunk.
Yeah. Pop off.
Pop off, queen.
Spidey. When you said Spidey, I did not know that that's what you meant, but I was like, you're not spelling it like spider, so.
No, it was Spidey. I do want to say also, though, like, Lauren Conrad is not a good person either. The only good person on that entire cast is Whitney and Audrina. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Which one did you say I'm like?
Audrina.
Oh, I was like, I thought her name was Ariana for some reason.
No.
Not Audrina. That's a cute
Audrina.
name.
Yeah. She also has terrible taste in men. It was so painful to watch. I think that was one of the main reasons why I compared, because I was like,
oh no,
karma. Talk shit, get hit. But yeah, I don't really know. I feel like this is maybe just more for our Gen Z early 20s listeners. I don't know if this will benefit you at all, but like I said, like, I have a lot of friends in their early 20s, and I'm 29, so I'm doing a lot of reflecting on my life in my 20s, and like, it's really just beautiful layout. My 20s have been a beautiful layout. And I feel like it's so crazy because all my friends are going through these life lessons, and it's so fucking obvious. Like, it's so obvious that they have to just go through this lesson. But for them, like, they're in it and it's real, and like, they don't see the lesson until like they're talking to me about this problem. And I'm like, oh, well, you just need to do it because this is like, and they're like, oh my God. And it doesn't help, obviously. Like, it helps a little bit, but it doesn't like take away the pain that they're feeling from this friendship or whatever. Yeah. But it's just so fucking weird. Yeah. To be able to see it so clearly.
Well, that's a thing. The other day I like stayed after in yoga a little bit because they were having a conversation and it was interesting, and I was listening about like suffering and having to like let your kids suffer, and that's like you're kind of almost saying it in like
it just gave me goosebumps
in a minute way of like your friends now, but like you are like, obviously when your kids are so little, you know everything I mean not everything, of course, we're always still growing and learning, but like no, I literally am always right. But it's like you want to solve all your problems for your kids, but it's like you have to let them suffer sometimes. And I saw a TikTok I think the other day, and it was like, if your kid forgot their jacket, even though you told them like it's going to be cold, you need to bring your jacket, you can't bring their jacket to the school because it's like they're not going to learn if they know someone's always going to be there to pick it up for you, or like they forget their homework or stuff like that, you want to bring it. And it's like, no, you have to take the consequences so you can learn on your own. But that's going to be so hard when it's like I'm fully capable of fixing this suffering, and I don't. And it's obviously like a kid. I feel that way with everyone in my life that I want to like end their suffering. That it's like with a kid, I know I'm gonna want like that's gonna
your
be
kid
something I'm gonna have to really like rein in. But I also like love watching people like learn lessons.
I know.
So I feel like it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something I'm gonna have to check myself. Like I can't do everything every time so they can learn.
Yeah, and I've already experienced that with working with kids. Like when I was at the summer camp, I don't know if I talked about this on the pod or maybe just to you, but I started to learn my kids that would react very strongly and turn to rage. And so I would come in and not let them experience those situations because I knew it was going to set them off. But then what happens when I'm not there?
Yeah.
And now they haven't felt this feeling because someone has been perfectly manicuring the
100%.
situations for them to not get triggered. And now they get triggered. The only person that's maybe capable and like, because what it needed to happen was they needed to get triggered and then I needed to step in.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like you can guide someone in breathing and get the balls and get the things they can throw and kick and all that stuff. But like, you can't take that experience away from them or else it's going to stunt their growth.
Yes.
Yeah. So I know it's like it's so funny seeing them all learn their lessons.
No, it is so fun.
I love it for them.
Me
but I
too.
just like think back and I'm like,
when you said like your 20s were like laid out beautifully, what did you mean by that?
I just have like, I know like a lot of people say no regrets because it's like you don't want to regret things, but it's just like I seriously have no regrets. I feel like I learned all the lessons, not all because, you know, we're always learning, but I learned all the lessons that were integral for me to step into my 30s grounded and strong in myself. And I feel like I ended up in like the best place ever. I just feel like I hit a lot of walls in my 20s, which were those lessons, and spiraled about them, but persevered and learned the lesson. And now it's just beautiful. Like I just feel so fucking good about my 20s.
I love that. I know. I'm like so excited for us to grow.
I know. It's really fun and exciting.
It's so beautiful. And you guys can watch it all here.
I know. And you can
on the Intellectual Airheads podcast.
So we're never ending.
I know. Oh my God, I need to stop talking about children. But
I know. Amanda wants to have a baby.
I was literally picturing us like one day, like,
oh my God, having our baby,
holding them in here, like they're just sleeping, and I'm like, I just want you here in the podcast, and I'm just saying talk.
No, that's so cute. I know.
Yeah, it's fun giving advice to like, because the boys
that's
that
what
I
I was
work
gonna
with
say.
are like so open to talk to me, and I
that's
love
good.
it.
Yeah.
It's so much fun, and they're just at such like a pivotal point in their life at 18 where it's like I like giving them advice because I feel like I am like planting good seeds that will like set them up for their like future, or at least like give them a different perspective, or like they'll hear something I said and like do that. But shit, I went off a tangent and now I don't remember where I was going with it.
I remembered where I was. Oh, you're saying it's just fun giving them advice.
Oh, I just told him last night that like honestly, adulthood is really fun.
No, it is.
It's really fun. I'm like, I know you've heard like a lot of, I feel like boomers like always talk about how high school is like the best time of your life.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
what? That was propaganda.
Yeah, it was propaganda.
Because
yeah, I'm like, it's honestly
high school's worse than middle school.
Yeah. 100%.
There's more pressure.
Yeah, 100%. I'm like, adulthood is really fun and you can kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And it's like really awesome. Like, obviously, you guys have seen, like, it's not like my life is perfect. Like, there's struggles, but like, I love my adult life.
And it's just like when you have the struggles, like, I don't know. I think another thing about like when I was young and when I was in my early 20s, and this is also, I don't know if ADHD comes with this victim mindset, but I have seen it a lot in ADHD people, so I'm feeling like it does. Comes with this victim entitlement mindset where it's like everything is always everybody else's fault and it's never my fault. I did that forever until probably 25, honestly. And so I feel like that's another thing I love about being grown is like there's no one else. Like I can't blame my parents. I can't blame my teacher. Oh, I guess I'm still in school. But like, you know, you can't really blame anyone that's in control of you because you're in control of yourself, bitch. So if you're feeling, if you fucked up because you made that decision.
But I love being in charge of myself.
Yeah, same. That's
like,
what I'm saying. Like
so
I
much
just
better.
blamed, and like the way that my childhood was just so controlled and so strict and weird. It's like so freeing to be on my own and like not feel like, okay, like I have these pressures from like whatever these people want out of me. I can just do what I want out of me. But one thing I was thinking about, and I've been thinking about this pretty much since me and Ian started dating, because I've always been like a sensei for Mallory. I'm just like an older version of her. And then I meet my friends out here who are, you know, in their early 20s, and I'm like older versions of them. And I'm just like, not to be so annoying, but I'm just so jealous of them to have someone like me. Like, I just am like, why didn't I get that? Why didn't I get an older person with ADHD who has felt these struggles, had these insecurities, look at me and say, you are going to be okay. Like, you are going to get through it. Life is not horrible. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I can do it for them.
No, I know. And that's what I was just about to say. Like, I really love... Like, we maybe should start an advice column. Like,
I know. I've been asking to ask us for advice.
Once we get a bigger following, because I don't know if this sounds bad, but I love giving advice.
No,
I feel
we're
like
good
I
at
give
it.
good advice. And yesterday at work, the whole shift, like, this little homie was talking to me all night, and I was just giving him advice. Then at the end of the shift, like, Taylor calls me, and she needed a bunch of advice. And then he, like, heard me on the phone with her, like, basically doing the same thing, like, talking her through, like, all her shit.
Things,
and I'm like, but I am the older sister. Like, I've never looked to anyone. Like, I feel like with you being younger, like, wanting, like, I've always known that I'm the one that gives the advice.
And then I ended up the oldest. I'm like, bitch, I'm a baby.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm in this role.
Yeah. And I just love it.
Yeah.
I love giving advice. So,
and I do I like being older, like with Ian's family. No, and the thing about us is, like, we're those kinds of friends that, like, you come to us with a problem and we're trying to solve it and give advice rather than just, well, it depends. It depends on the situation. Like, we know how to give space. So if you ask us for advice, we're going all in, and we're going to talk about it for 25 minutes.
Yes. And I said something last night, and I said, oh my God, wait, I shouldn't have been so blunt about that. And he was like, no, you're right. And I'm like, okay. I got nervous for a second, though, because sometimes I do get a little blunt. Yeah. And I feel like I know everything, and I just, like, say it.
No, sometimes you do get like that, and that's when my defense goes up. Sometimes when it gets so blunt and just says and she has no expression on her face, and I'm like, okay, so now we're in a fight? Now you hate me? Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes my tone of voice
it's your tone of voice.
Is like, because it's not even like the way I'm saying it. I just think my voice in general is like a little bit more monotone with Valley Girl. Yeah. And I think sometimes things come off just like a little harsher than I mean them to be energetically. Yeah. And it kind of makes people be like,
yeah. It's jarring.
If you want blunt advice.
And almost like everything I say is like coded with a joke. That's what I realized. Like, okay, this is maybe going to be our final piece because we're already at 53 minutes. Amanda needs to go to work. My biggest pet peeve with my father is that he turns everything into a joke. Nothing can ever be serious because everything has to be a joke. When I watched back that episode when you talked about New Year's Eve and what happened to you, it was fine because we're the intellectual airheads. We go deep and keep things light. But like, I was just like, even in that moment, not making jokes, but just kind of like saying things in a joking way and like laughing after it. Because I don't use periods. I giggle after everything I say. And I was like, that is so... I mean, it was fine for the situation. But like, if I was really being a social worker in that moment, like, I really need to like be comfortable with like...
I think if we were in a different setting,
I know it would have been different, but like, I was just really surprised to see me go there when I get so annoyed that my dad does that.
Well, when I was giving Taylor advice on the phone last night, I went off on a little bit of a tangent, and like, I ended up calling her once I got into the car, and I had like hit my pen a couple times, and I went off on a long tangent, and she was kind of silent for a second, and I was like, sorry, I don't know if that made any sense, and I just kind of went off on a tangent, but I'm kind of high right now. And she was like, you just reminded me of Dad, because my dad will call us on his way home from work. Like, that's mainly when we talk in the car, and he hits his pen on his way home from work, and then when we ask him for advice, he goes off sometimes, and then we'll say, sorry, I'm a little bit high right now. And when she said that, I was like, oh my God, I literally am so much like my dad.
We're literally just our dads.
And it was so cute. I liked it. Like, I love that part of him, you know, so it was cute. And I'm sorry that you hate the joking thing.
It's like funny because, you know, my dad's humor is my favorite thing about him too. Yeah. So it's like, okay, it's kind of like, pick and choose, bitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to pee really bad.
We love you guys so much. Like, follow, share, send to 5 friends, and ask us for advice in the comments.
Yeah. Love you. Or, maybe we'll work on a website soon, and then we can have an anonymous little box.
Oh, I would love that. Yeah. Anonymous box would be good.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Love you guys.
Stay tuned.